Yeah.
Clap. They told me to use this clap in order to make sure that the video and audio are synced. And I'm going to start using it because someone commented on the day one vlog / podcast / whatever this is, that the video and audio are a tiny bit out of sync. So today I basically threw most of my day because of that comment, working in video editing software, trying to make this tiny couple of milliseconds sync the audio and video with my mouth just to do not bother some people. I wasted my entire day. So I guess welcome to day 3 of whatever this is. I really wanted to call the podcast whatever this is, but I just searched on Apple Podcasts and there's already 7 of them called whatever this is. So I guess welcome to the Kitze cast. It's day 3. I said I'm going to do this every day, but let's not confuse this literally every day. It's only on weekdays. I want to rest on weekends. It's going to be too much. And usually I have a lot of things to say when I'm working, and on weekends I'm planning not to work. So we're going to keep this on the weekdays, meaning tomorrow is Friday. Tomorrow we're going to do episode 4, and then we're going to take a break on Saturday and Sunday. So what's been going on? Let me just get rid of that whiteboard behind me. There's a reason why I have the whiteboard. I want to show you something on it, and then we can get rid of it. If you're listening to this on the podcast and not watching the video, I have a giant whiteboard that I found somewhere in this house, and I used it to visualize my walking and my weight loss. So we started with 99 kilos up there. And at some point, like a couple of weeks ago, I went 99, 98. As I was crossing the numbers, I got to 90, I think 93. You can see the smudge here, to 93. And as soon as people complimented me and they were like, hey man, you lost weight, you look great. Immediately for 2 weeks, I just ramped up the food a little bit, bam, 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 and I got back to 99. So now we're starting the process again, except I don't take compliments no more. So don't you dare say in the comments that I look good. Just insult me. Say that I look fat, whatever. But this time I'm really sticking to my diet. The holidays won't get in my way. People won't get in my way. And this time I'm going to get to this number, 85 kilos. No, I've been working on an app called Benji, right? And it has weight tracking and everything. And some people were like, oh, bro, why aren't you doing an app? Why do you need a whiteboard? I think whiteboards are pretty powerful or like piece of paper, stick it somewhere just to visualize this and just drill it in your head that you're doing this no matter what. And you have to get to a certain goal. So that's why I like the whiteboard. I'm also tracking things in Benji. But I like seeing this. And here I have my workouts. I think I did in log today that I walked 10K steps. But I'm just updating this every once in a while, every couple of days. And I want to see this progress visually. So that being said, I'm 87. So I crossed the 87 number, 87 point something kilos today. So I'm pretty happy that the weight is going down. I ate pretty clean today. And I guess we can start with a daily check-in. So I want to start every episode with just a quick daily check-in and see, what's been going on. So starting with time when I went to sleep. I went to sleep at 1:30 a.m. And yeah, I mentioned in the previous episode, like, oh, I'm going to be pumped in the morning because I was working and blah, blah, blah. I felt like shit. So I felt pretty horrible today. And I don't like not sleeping enough, especially after I do like a weight training session. I woke up around 7:30-ish, I think, or was it 8? No, it was pretty early, around 7, 8. I'm used to waking up before that. And I woke up because my daughter is babbling. She's turning 4 months old tomorrow. But even when she was not even 3 months old, this little kid can't wait to be on Twitch, can't wait to be my guest and just talk. Like she sleeps through the night. She sleeps amazingly. We're so lucky. We're so blessed that we got a baby that sleeps through the night. It's amazing. All the horror stories they tell you about kids. They're not going to sleep and it's going to be a nightmare. Since her birth until now, she's sleeping 7 to 9 hours with just a couple of exceptions. Of course, she wakes up like once for breastfeeding. Sometimes she doesn't even wake up through the night. So she wakes up once and mostly she sleeps through the night. But boy, when it's like 7 something, she starts her own podcast. So it sounds so close to human talking. And this baby's so small. Like it sounds like she's trying to tell you something like, Doctor, when can I also do my own podcast? And like we're trying to, and then you cannot blame her. There are babies who wake up at 2 a.m. and they're not even talking. They're straight up yelling at you, nonsense. So at least this kid is politely telling, I need breakfast or whatever she's trying to say. So I woke up, I felt like, I look at the clock and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. On one hand, it's late for me. I want to wake up at 6 and 7. On the other hand, I haven't had enough sleep. So what was I saying? For me, sleep is not this, it's not a psychological thing. That if you change your mindset, you can just, if you just feel in your bones and you don't need sleep, fuck all of that. I believe that you need at least 7 hours of sleep to properly function, especially when you've done hard workout the other day. Like maybe people can tell you that you don't need sleep and yada, 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 but you haven't worked out hard, right? I did like probably 11, 12,000 steps completely the yesterday, and then I also did 30, 40 minutes strength training, which the combination of that plus working until 1:30 a.m., like exhausting your brain, it's very hard to wake up and be like, oh, bro, I only can work on 4 hours of sleep. So if you I mentioned this person who motivated me to upload again, and I was like, oh man, he's grinding, doing double shifts, and then also, recording at night. Turns out he's using energy drinks. So he's using a couple of energy drinks per day, which I definitely refuse to do. I don't even drink coffee on most days. If you go to my public Benji profile, you will see that on most, like 90% of the days of the year, I just drink a cup of decaf in the morning because I just like having a hot drink, but I don't like caffeine. I made an exception today. I'll explain that, but I'm never going to stoop that low to drink energy drinks. I tried Logan Paul's Prime just because of the hype. I don't even know. I saw it in a store and I'm like, oh, this is something we don't have in Europe. I bought a couple of them. They tasted like my dog's pee, which I haven't even tried, but I'm pretty sure if you take my dog's pee, add shit ton of sugar to it and add whatever that product has in it, I don't freaking know. It tastes horrible, dude. It's like a sugary bomb. So I stay away from sodas. I stay away from energy drinks. Even when I'm feeling, like super low and like I want to boost my energy, I would rather just quit on the day, quit on whatever I'm doing than to resort to energy drinks. So sleep-wise, these days has been horrible. I pushed myself yesterday to do a stream. I streamed after a really long time of taking a break. And I did my 3 hours of recording the course yesterday, but I regret it today because my entire day I've been on the edge. Like when I don't sleep, I feel janky. I feel like on the edge. I feel like I can easily argue with people. I can easily be, get into discussions that I usually don't get into. I feel like I've gotten my first panic attack. Like I only got a couple of panic attacks, and that's been, I think 3 years ago at this point when I was overworking myself. Like during COVID, when we were all locked down, you either got anxiety or panic attacks or the combination. Like I think the statistics were that one out of 3 people got one of those things, either anxiety or panic attacks. And a panic attack is super scary. I don't wish it on my worst enemy, which is electron or redux, but I really don't wish it on anyone because it's like a surreal experience, man. And maybe I can just go a little bit into this. I wasn't planning to, but as I said, this podcast should be called Tangents on Tangents on Tangents because you thought I'm going to finish a sentence in a thought and then I'm taking you places like panic attacks. Why am I talking about this? It's connected to not sleeping because I remember that period we were eating so much Pizza Hut and that pizza like literally destroys you that you have to wake up at night. Your stomach feels horrible. You're stuck on the toilet. Like overall, it's a disgusting experience compared to just Italian pizza. When I have Italian pizza from any restaurant, I feel good the other day. I can sleep at night. But that period, we were doing the awful combination, like COVID lockdown and eating a large Pizza Hut pizza combined with Ben & Jerry's. Like I would eat an entire pint and maybe 2 more extra ice cream with it. So that amount of sugar and salt combined with not sleeping and overworking myself and streaming for 10, 12 hours was the perfect recipe, for anxiety and for my first panic attack. So at first I had no idea what was happening. I'm like, what is going on to my body? It started like some argument with my wife because as I said, when you're on the edge like this, you can very easily be pulled into arguments and just explode about a certain thing. So about nothing, we started some argument and whatever, and I felt for the first time this out-of-body experience. And if you had it, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't had it, I don't wish it on you. But you start getting so jittery, like you don't know what's happening, that suddenly you think that your soul is being separated from your body. It's like so freaking scary and weird, and you just want to merge back. You're like, come on. It's like, Tom and Jerry, the cartoon, when the ghost just flies out of the person and then it walks back into the person. So it is into the person. Like Tom is a freaking cat. But it's something like that. You just wait for that to, to align, and you're like, what the hell is happening to me? Like, this is so scary. And because it's the first time you don't know what to do, so you obviously think, oh, I need some sugar. So I go and take a couple of scoops of honey. I take a couple of, rows of chocolate. I told my wife, I need to get out. Let's go out. Let's go somewhere. We started walking, but the feeling doesn't go away. We went to Subway like idiots and ate a sandwich. So more calories, more salt. So for a while, I felt horrible during that period. So this combination, I guess that's it about the panic attacks. Like after a while, I got a book about anxiety. Literally every chapters in the book about anxiety were, what is Kitze doing wrong with his life? I can show you the book sometimes. Every chapter title is the opposite of what I was doing at the time. It was like, have a break every week, then every month have, a bigger break, and then every quarter just go on a 1-week vacation. Or, it was everything about work-life balance and not overworking yourself and not consuming caffeine, which I was consuming a couple of cups per day, combined with a lot of salt, a lot of sugar. So basically, I was a recipe for disaster. And when I don't sleep, like today, back to the topic, I feel like so on the edge, and I feel like sleep is crucial for me. So today I decided not to repeat that mistake and not to push myself just because I said I'm going to do something. I said I'm going to do 3 hours of recording the course, and I said I'm going to do 4 hours of coding every day. But that means when everything is fine, when I don't feel fine, like I screwed up yesterday, I'm not going to push myself to go over the edge because I felt that over the edge, and trust me, it freaking sucks. And I'm actually lucky with the amount of work that I did. I'm lucky that it just ended with anxiety and panic attacks for me, because it could have ended up much worse. Like during the same COVID period, I have like I don't want to reveal the identity right now because some people from my country might know the person, but he was very close to my age back then. I was like 29 and he was 33, and I'm gonna turn 32. And he was such a hard worker, and I don't know if he was overworking himself. I just know that he worked on too many things. He was a CEO, a company, was doing a bunch of things. The guy died out of nowhere. Like people even don't like, it was something with the brain, like boom, like that, and the guy was gone. We had I had an appointment with him. He was like, "Hey man, I follow you on social media, and through the years, I see what you're doing." And because he was, like my mentor back in the day. Like I looked up to this person. He was like, "When you come back to Macedonia, let's have a coffee, let's have a chat." And we never had that chat because the guy literally died. And I wish that was eye-opening for me. It was for like 10 seconds, right? For let's say 2 weeks, I was thinking about this, and I'm like, oh, I should never work myself, and I should never not sleep enough, and blah, blah, blah. And then you forget about it because you think you're the main character in your story, right? It can never happen to me. But now I'm trying to be more careful. So what happened today is I went through my entire day, and the clock was around 6 p.m. and I explained the first half of my day. But I decided, I'm like, upload the video from yesterday, record this today because you said you're going to do it. But there's no way I'm doing 3 hours of recording the course and 1 hour of extra streaming today because I feel on the edge. I feel like I need sleep. And if I stay today again after 1 a.m., it accumulates, and then you need a lot of time to make up for that sleep. So I decided, I'm going to respect my goals only if I feel completely fine. I would be a piece of shit, if I said that I'm going to do something and then on the second day, I'm like, I just feel lazy. I feel like not doing it. I wouldn't do it. But if I feel so exhausted, and I would recommend you do the same, just don't stubbornly go with your head into the wall being like, no, I got to do my things, because health is number one, and I can't stress how crucial this is. So soon, your boy, it's 8:30 p.m. right now, 9 p.m., see ya. I'm going to be dozing off and properly sleeping until the morning. Speaking of sleeping, it's like right now the one thing that's screwing up my day is I don't have a time frame of going to bed. At some point I had that, and a time for waking up, because as I said, the baby's sleeping perfectly, and I don't have a way to have an alarm in the room, because we sleep, my wife and me, we sleep in the bed, and the baby sleeps in a crib next to us. So any alarm would be heard, and there's a tiny chance I might wake up my daughter ahead of time, and we don't want to do that. You never want to wake up a sleeping baby. So another solution would be wearing an Apple Watch when you go to sleep, which I absolutely hate. Like when I go to sleep, I want to take off all of my devices. Like I can sleep with the Oura ring, but it's a ring. I can never sleep with this chunky ass boy. I don't know. I have no idea how people are sleeping with a brick strapped on their wrist. So that would be one option. And of course, my brain goes to the other over-engineering option, over-expensive option, which is buying that mattress, whatever it's called, the 8-pod, the sleep pod, whatever it's called. It's like 3,000 euros for a mattress cover, which cools your bed and also has a vibration thingy that can vibrate the one side of the bed so it wakes you up without waking up your partner. If I have to resort to that, I'll resort to that. If you have any ideas, what can I use to wake up without waking up my daughter? Maybe I should ask ChatGPT about this. But if you have any suggestions, just let me know, because I cannot plan out my day. I cannot have things in the calendar unless I know that my day starts at 7. If my day starts one day at 7:45 and the other day at 9 and the other day at 9:30, I cannot structure my day and I cannot plan the things, and it's pretty horrible. So let's go through the other daily check-in, because I started with a daily check-in and then we went tangents on tangents on tangents. So let's see what else did I have today. Fasting. I'm going to actually screen share a little bit, which for the people in the podcast, you're not missing out on much, because I'm actually going to walk you through everything that was going on. So fasting, I finished my fast today from yesterday, and I started a new fast today. My food today has been super clean. So I had carrots and hummus as a snack. In the morning, I had a paella leftover with brown rice, veggies, and seafood mix, 3 eggs and a glass of yogurt. As a snack, I had a banana and apple. My diet is so restrictive right now that I cannot have anything. Like I opened the fridge and you can hear the wah, 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 wah. Like there's nothing I can get from there. I opened the pantry. I decided not even to eat like mixed nuts. Like I was eating a bunch of, cashews and almonds and dried fruit. I banned all of that from my diet. I opened the pantry, nothing. So I ate like carrots and hummus. So I have this recipe for you that I can recommend, which is a protein smoothie with strawberries and banana, but frozen strawberries. It tastes 95% like ice cream if you get the right protein. I use Whey Gold, Optimum Nutrition, whatever. And you put 1 scoop of protein, you put a lot of frozen strawberries, 1 banana, and just a little bit, 100, 200 milliliters maybe of oatmeal milk or almond milk, or if you're drinking cow milk, just that milk. You blend it. Your blender's going to struggle a little bit because it will have the shape and structure of an ice cream. And then you can eat it with a spoon, and it's cold, it's sweet, and you're getting like 25, 30 grams of protein, which is now my favorite sweet replacement. It's like, it's an amazing snack. So fasting and food has been going great. Workout, I did 10,000 steps today. I finished that because there was no strength workout today. I'm doing the strength workout tomorrow. Let's look at the Pomodoro. So here it says 4 hours and 31 minutes. I'm just not in the habit of starting Pomodoros properly. So even though I have like a menu bar item in Benji that's like glowing red and it says no Pomodoro, it's stupid how the human brain could just, after a while, decides to, I think there was a psychological phenomenon for this. I don't remember the name, but the human brain can basically decide to ignore something that's in your vision all the time. And I've heard somewhere on the podcast that, if you think you're going to stick a piece of paper or something that you're going to look at every once in a while and it's going to help you, like eventually your brain like blends it with the background, and it might even have a worse effect because you see that every day and you start, you don't want to see that every day, and it has the opposite effect. So my Pomodoros, I just don't have the habit of starting them properly. I'm pretty sure I've done a couple of more because I've been all day on the computer. I woke up, I started working in the morning, and with a little break that I had for walking outside and walking my dog, I've been on the computer working all day. I'm just not in the habit of starting my Pomodoros properly. As you can see, I have one blinking right now. So I'm going to let that one flow. I don't need to, I don't need to complete that one. I've been sitting again most of the day. I screwed up. I just cannot get into this freaking habit of standing. If you have any tips how to use a standing desk and actually stand, let me know, because I thought this diagram is going to scare me. Maybe I should put some scary facts here in the diagram, in the chart, and say like, hey, if you sit that much, you're going to die earlier or whatever. I'm going to probably ignore that too. So standing doesn't work for me. Like, this chair is comfortable. I hate sitting. I hate when I see this, and I hate that my leg hurts, but it is what it is. So what else do we have today? Habits. Let's go over the habits. I think I have a pretty rad day today. Rad, not rad, like rad, but red. The day is pretty red today. So I measured my weight. I had my athletic greens, bottle of water. I started walking my dog again. It was amazing, just walking outside instead of just sitting on the computer. After ranting about skincare routine this morning, I cleaned my face and I moisturized and I felt like a goddess. Not like a god. Dude, you feel like fucking Cleopatra. A guy puts 2 drops of cream on his face. I went upstairs like glowing. Like a peacock. You go in front of your wife and you're like, huh? Do you notice I'm younger for 7 years? Because you put 2 drops of, whatever on your face. Meanwhile, women will be like, this is my 9th layer of cream and it's not enough. I need to do 15. And we do like 1 and we're happy. So I'm happy with that. I failed. I didn't do a plank or breathing or morning journal or cold shower because it was super cold outside when I was walking. I'm not going to walk in home and enter a cold shower. Cold showers work only after the sauna. Moving on, 4 hours of coding. As I said, not going to push myself. Didn't do that. Inbox 0, completely ignored my email today. Completely ignored my task list today. I haven't, as you can see this number, it says 24 pending tasks. I don't even want to click it. I don't even, maybe I'm missing on something important, but I just don't have the bandwidth, dude. I've been struggling with this, with my task list for a while, even though I'm making my own app, even though I added all the features that I want to have in a to-do app. They just pile on and they pile on and they pile on and they pile on. And if you don't have a structure, and I'm also talking to myself, if I don't have a structure, when am I going to do errands? When am I going to do a batch of chores that needs to be done around the house? They're never going to get done. The problem with to-do list is people are scared of adding everything to a to-do list. I'm not. I'm adding literally every single thing to my to-do list without being scared. But what I'm scared of is when you have too many things going on, when do you structure that block of time to actually do tasks? Because without this block, don't make plans for your day. People go and they're like, today I'm going to do A, B, C, and they put 15 tasks. But when? When is the block of your day you're going to do these tasks? And I'm going to show you, I cannot reveal, there's a bunch of private info in Benji right now. I'm going to show you an option in Benji where you can draw time blocks And then you can have tasks in those time blocks telling you whether you have enough time to do those tasks. But even when I have this feature, when I feel overwhelmed, I just don't use the features in the app. And I just declare task bankruptcy. And I'm like, nope, not looking at my task list today. Fuck it. Cannot do it. So going back to this, inbox zero, haven't looked at my email, haven't looked at my task list, didn't have green tea. I ate lunch mindfully, I ate breakfast mindfully. I was not looking at devices. I skipped dinner. I didn't eat anything for dinner. So the night section, the night habits are just skipped. I don't have the bandwidth to do that right now. Hopefully I get to a place where I do my night habits, and everything else has been pretty great. Filling the activity rings, protein shake, no sweets, no coffee, no alcohol, no bread, no soda, no fast food, 10,000 steps, skip the workout, no workout today, no sauna, but showered, walked, and I'm mad that I didn't get the 7 hours of sleep, but it's fine. I definitely met my hydration goal because I've been drinking like this thing. Having this chunky boy around definitely helps. So if you're not drinking enough water, don't get some tiny ass bottle, don't get a glass of water, just fill this bad boy, get something like this, or even a plastic bottle from the store. And for me, it works wonders. So I've been actually drinking way too much. I'm probably over 4 liters of water today, which is going to be bad tonight, but it is what it is. So we went over the habits, and I have a couple more things. I call this like the content section that I want to go over. This is nothing to do with Benji, because I think that we covered everything from the Benji home screen. I said my planner is not up to date, so just don't look at the planner. These are some events that I'm looking forward to. My daughter turning 4 months old tomorrow, and a bunch of movies, shows coming out, and blah, blah, blah. Some of these habits are, I haven't went through them yet. Some of them are done, but I haven't went to click on them yet. And I guess that's the Benji daily review. We can move on with other things. Current book that I'm reading is, I already mentioned the 2 books that I'm reading, but there's a third author I'm going to recommend to you if you like fiction books. His name is Blake Crouch, and maybe you've heard the book called Dark Matter. So I'm going to tell you how good is this book. Never in my life I've sat down and I started reading this at night, and I just couldn't freaking stop it. I was reading until late, maybe 2, 3 a.m. Like, I've never binged a book in my life. I woke up. This is like, it sounds like a joke. Have you ever woken up and you're like, woke up? And you're like, oh, let me read a little bit. No one does that. People in movies maybe do that. I woke up. I was like, get the fuck out of my way. I don't even need the toilet. Where's that freaking book? And I binged it. I don't know what was the time. I just started in the morning and I finished 300, 400 page book from night to morning, because it's the most amazing #1 fiction book I've ever read in my life. It's called Dead Matter? Dark Matter. And then I went on a binge and I read everything from this author. If you're a geek, if you like things like recursion and time travel and whatever, you will love his books, because the name of one of his books is Recursion. So he has Dark Matter, Recursion, another book. Then he has a trilogy called Pines. And now I went so deep in the rabbit hole, I'm even reading his books that have like 3 stars and 400 reviews on Goodreads. So I'm reading a book called Abandon, and it's pretty good so far. But I kind of abandoned it, and it's sitting on my habit for reading at night is kind of gone. So hopefully I get back to it at some point. But definitely recommend Blake Crouch, especially his top 3 to 4 books. Give it a shot. Movies. I'm watching the Star Wars trilogy, Sixology, 9nology, whatever it's called. People have different ways to tell you to watch Star Wars. I've never seen a minute of it in my life. I pretty like the first. I like the first movie. I like the second movie. It's too nerdy. It's like Beat Sabers. They're not Beat Sabers. They're like lightsabers, and they're doing pew pew chew. Darth Vader, you're not my father. Brrr. Whatever. It's too nerdy. I like nerdy shit, and I felt like left out of the culture that I don't know shit about Star Wars. So now, after finishing the trilogy, I have to back to the prequels and then go back to the modern movies and whatever. I like it. If you're super nerdy, if you like space, you should watch it. Otherwise, just skip freaking Star Wars. TV shows. Succession got 50,000 Emmys. Again, I think for every season, every actor has won multiple Emmys. So if you haven't seen Succession on HBO, 100 billion% I recommend you Succession for you, because it's one of the most amazing dramas. It says comedy in the tagline. It might make you laugh every once in a while, but it's a drama. I have a friend who's like, bro, this is not funny. Don't expect a funny show. Expect one of the best dramas you're going to watch in your life. Definitely recommend Succession. And 2 games I want to recommend. I got the Steam Deck and I started gaming on the Steam Deck. Inside and Limbo. They're pretty old. You can find them for $3 on every store. Whether they're on iPhone, they're on Nintendo Switch, they're on whatever. The games are called Limbo and Inside. And start with Inside, because it's like way better graphically and thematically and engine-wise. It's so good. But these games bring back my faith in gaming. I like indie games again. I don't care about, first-person shooters with the best graphics. This is just a side-scroller with an amazing story. I can definitely recommend you play these 2 games. Now, when I'm doing this segment, let me know in the comments, do you like this segment to go at the end? Because it feels like something that should go, like the content part. Maybe the habits review and everything should go in the first part, and the content suggestions can go in the end of the podcast. I think that makes sense, and I'm going to do that next time. Now I want to mention a couple of my goals that I haven't mentioned in the previous ones, and I want you to keep me accountable for these goals. So first one, I have actually mentioned it, is getting to 85 kilos. Second one, which is pretty huge, and I'm not sure whether I want it or not, but I feel guilty like owing money to someone. This time to the bank, because we're paying a mortgage for this house, and it's a pretty expensive house. And at one hand, it bugs me that I owe money. On the other hand, you already got the house, so if I just pay it off, guess what I get at the end? The house. So it's a weird psychological thing where I thought that, oh man, when we're going to move into the house, and I'm going to feel so much pressure because I owe money, I have to pay it off. But now I'm like, I can afford the mortgage even though it's too much, but who cares? I can just pay it off and I live in the house. So I'm not sure what would be the benefit. I mean, the benefit would be not paying the bank for that many years. But I want to say that it's one of my goals because I know I have it in me to like not triple, but 10x the revenue on my course, on CZ, on everything. If I do the right moves, I can 10x my revenue. So paying off the house, I don't see it as my ultimate goal. I just see it as when I 10x the revenue on everything, just paying off the house would be just easy breezy for me. And I just even though right now it sounds like a lot of money, it will just be like nothing. So I want to get to the place where this year, 2024, paying off the house will be like easy peasy. And I will even forget that I spent that much money on the house. So that's one of my goals. We're going to see, like, if you're watching this right now, skip to video 100. And if I know myself, it's going to happen. Probably by video 100, not 100. Like if I make this every day, video 300 maybe? If I record this for the entire year, it's going to happen. So, I wrote this as goals, but now when I read them, buddy, it's like lying to yourself. 4 books per month? Like I would have to really fix my reading habit to get to 4 books per month. So we're going to see if that happens. 6-pack this summer. Now, I had this goal since I was 3 seconds old. Like I came out of my mother's womb and I was like, Mama, I like to have a 6-pack. And my mom just died laughing. She died laughing because no, jokes aside, I have a bet with my friend from 2010 that I'm going to have a 6-pack this summer. Now it's 2024. It's been freaking 14 years. And 2010, yeah, 14, basic math. 14 years and your boy doesn't have a 6-pack. So I always have this for every summer. But this time my hope is we work together, right? We collaborate on Benji. We do all of these goals, routines together. So maybe I'll get to fucking 6-pack this summer. Maybe. We'll see. I don't have a lot of confidence in this goal. And the last one is fixed leg pain. So I don't want to go into this topic because it's going to take 30 minutes. And long story short, I've mentioned it before. I had this leg pain, which has been going up and down, up and down. It goes up when I'm sitting a lot, and it goes up when I'm doing squats and leg exercises. So for now, I've banned leg exercises, which is not the right thing. I should be doing squats. I should be doing things for my legs. So one of the goals for this year is to get back to my trainer. I was working with a coach specifically for this thing and fix the leg pain. So that's the daily check-in. That's the daily review of my goals and things. I'm going to try to keep it shorter next time. I'm going to try to keep it more compressed and summarized. And now we're going to move on to the daily topics and shit that happened today, this day. So in the morning, I was supposed to record the course, right, for 3 hours. And I was supposed to do 1 hour of extra stream to just get to the coding goal of 4 hours of coding per day. However, this podcast is too exciting for me. Like your comments, your support, everything that's going on, like the hype. I get on that, on the hype train. I get on the, what do you call it? Momentum. I want to talk about this topic, momentum, and how important it is. If I just drop it off right now, I skip a couple of days and whatever, like this is going to be dead 100%. So I wake up with one thought in my head, not recording the course, not doing the other things. I'm like, let me check the comments, let me record. I started talking to ChatGPT about summarize my podcast and generate a thumbnail and give me a list of, I started doing a bunch of things that are not that important. And what I like to change in my life is just when I wake up and go on the computer, I want to have like a structured plan of what am I going to do with my day instead of just jumping on the first thing that's interesting to me. Because today I found it interesting to mess around with the podcast. So it was episode 2. It wasn't uploaded. And the problem was, this was the first episode that I recorded in 2 parts because it screwed up. So I had part 1 and part B. Now, the logical thing to do here would be to go in the most basic editing app on your computer, iMovie, right? Take part A, take part B, join, export, upload. But your boy did the opposite. I downloaded Camtasia. I paid for a subscription for Descript. I started watching videos about how to use Descript to remove the uhs and hums and a bunch of things you can do in Descript. Then I got into a rabbit hole seeing that Adobe Premiere has the same features as Descript. Uninstalled Descript, canceled my subscription, subscribed for a trial for Adobe Premiere. I went to Adobe Premiere, I removed all the ahs and the ums I say in this podcast, and it sounded too chopped up, it sounded too weird. Like every couple of seconds there would be like a frame jump and a cut, and it sounded weird. I'm like, why am I even doing this? I like to enhance the audio because the audio I'm recording right now is not as good as when you enhance it with Adobe's techniques. But I really didn't have to do that. I just had to, in the morning, push this to YouTube, push it to Transistor to upload a podcast and move on with recording the course. I didn't do that and I lost most of my day until 4 p.m. just messing with video editing software, correcting trying to sync my lips to the audio and trying to correct the sound. And I feel like I drained all my energy on this and I made my day like super chaotic. And basically, like I was at a point of my day, I'm like, what the hell do I do now? I look at my activity rings, I haven't walked. It's like 4 p.m., I haven't had lunch. And I'm like, what do I do with my day now? And I needed to walk on the treadmill because 10,000 steps is not even a question. I have to do them every single day. But just the thought of this office, like sometimes, especially when you're tired and just being closed in this basement, which has a window, but the window just doesn't look to anything. It was just too, I just couldn't freaking do it. I was like, I need coffee. Like for the first time, I need coffee. I'm going to push through. I'm going to go for a walk and drink coffee and I'll be fine. I'll come back and record the course. So I go outside. And dude, outside right now, it's, 1 degree in Poland. It's not that cold. The wind makes it feel a little bit colder. That's not a problem. I put all of my equipment on me, hats, gloves, whatever. Start going on a walk. There's this snow that's not even snow. It's like snow rain, I call it. Like it's a snow/rain, which is, if you know it, dude, it's just painful and annoying. Like, that's the worst weather. The weather app doesn't even have a name for it because it would have to be inappropriate and be like, today the weather's going to be a giant pain in your ass. Because you go outside and there's like tiny drops just with the wind going in your face. It feels like paying taxes repeatedly every second. Like it's pain all the time. And I'm like, you're not coming back because you're not going to walk on that treadmill. Walk in a direction with the wind and snow and whatever doesn't hit your face. And just endure this. You're going to do on a 1 hour walk and you're going to be fine. Speaking of that walk, I wanted to suggest you something. Even at this point, we're halfway through the podcast. Maybe I'll do 30 more minutes. Maybe I'll do 15 more minutes. But if you've been listening to this and you feel inspired to do a change in your life, like I want you to make the time now. Like not now after the podcast, like now. At this point on the podcast, if you're struggling with weight, you want to lose weight, you want to get mental clarity, I want you to go outside right now. Like put on the headphones if you're listening to me on a TV or whatever. Just drop that off, switch it to your headphones, take your phone and go on a walk. Even if it's 15 minutes until the end of the podcast, you'll be glad that you did 15 minutes. So if you want to lose weight and you don't want complex diets and techniques, whatever, how about you start with this? Every time you see that I uploaded a podcast or a video, you put on the headphones and you feel like we're walking together. You're walking with me. Let me know if you actually do it. Came back from a walk. This was great. Let's do it again. Just comment that and I'll know that I have someone, to do this with. And it will make me pretty happy if it brings some people results. So I went on that walk and I started listening to a podcast. Speaking of, I should have mentioned it in my content review. The only podcast I listened to lately is My First Million. I got hooked to these two guys bantering. The podcast name is a little bit cringy. They also admit it. It's not even about that, but it's just two guys ranting about business, brainstorming. They're pretty funny, pretty interesting conversations, pretty interesting guests. I've been binging this entire thing. When they don't upload, I go back to an old video and I only listen to that. I've subscribed to a couple of podcasts like Huberman and Tim Ferriss and whatever, but I've been only listening to My First Million. However, I play an episode of My First Million today and I'm like, how did my episode sound? I want to listen to myself and God, this sounds so narcissistic and stupid, but I just wanted to check for errors. Let's say that I really wanted to check how that sounds. And on 2x speed, while I was walking, I binged my own podcast. Am I weird? I don't know. I kind of like this idea. Like it's so weird seeing yourself in Spotify. Like you see this list of people, you see Tim Ferriss, Andrew Huberman, and then it's this fucking donut. It's your boy next to these people. So it gives you this hope that these people are not that different from you. They all started from 0 views. I think there's this story about the band Iron Maiden. Like they were asking them, like, how did you start? And I love this story, man. They asked them, like, how did you start? How did you get to selling, millions of tickets in concerts and shows? And they're like, well, we started with a show where we had like nobody. And then next week, we were playing a gig and there were like 3 people in the audience. And then next week, we were playing a gig and there were like 10 people in the audience. And then next month, we were playing a gig and there were like 50 people in the audience. And I don't want to repeat this, you know where this is going, but we hate to believe that that's how it starts for everyone, right? We think, oh no, but Iron Maiden is special. Oh no, but Andrew Huberman is special, or Tim Ferriss is special. Tim Ferriss is one of the example combined with Bill Burr. I know that Bill Burr was recording his podcast on a flip phone back in the day. So he's been doing it for probably 13, 14, 15 years maybe at this point, maybe even more, just to get to this point where he's one of the most popular comedy podcasts. But we don't want to see that. And we're like, I'm going to try it for 3 episodes. And if I don't get there, I don't get instant results. So fuck it. I'll just quit on it. So anyway, like I'm going on this walk. I'm looking at my face next to all of these other people. And I'm like, this is, you can be among these people. Like this has been a theme that's been blowing my mind. Like people that I've been looking up to, they're in my DMs, like, or my replies, like popular YouTubers or popular creators or whatever. I'm like talking to these people. They're talking to me. They're asking me questions. And my brain still doesn't realize it. I'm like, how did I get here? I guess it's step by step, but it's so many steps over the years. It's freaking weird. And I believe that anyone can do it. Anyone, literally anyone. If you have access to the internet, if you understand English, you can speak English, you can write English, you are listening to this right now, anyone can freaking do it. So going on this walk, seeing my face, listening to my own podcast like a donut. And it felt nice. I got a cup of coffee, which I almost never drink, like coffee with caffeine. I drink decaf. And I thought that when I come back home, man, I'm going to crush it. And I actually felt the energy till I came home, hot shower. And I felt that, like not laziness. I just felt that, oh man, my body is just shutting down. I went to talk to my wife about something and I noticed my speech is slurring. And I'm like, oh boy, it's time to go to sleep. So I said, I'm going to upload episode 2, record episode 3, and I'm done for the day. So, I don't feel like this day was a huge win, but I guess I have to learn to, live with these losses and take the losses, take a lesson from them, and just move on. There's nothing else that I can do. If I, like there's this saying, if one of your tires from your car, like if one of your tires gets pierced, whatever it's called, why do you, like, let's say that's in the middle of your day, why do you go ahead and pierce the rest of the tires? And that's what we're doing with food. That's what we're doing with work. Like one tire gets pierced and you're like, fuck it, I'll just burst the other tires. I'm not going to do anything today. So I felt like I've done enough today. Maybe I didn't do my goals, but I've done, a bunch of stuff regarding the podcast. I recorded this episode, so I should feel content, but I'm kind of lying to myself. I'm not there yet to be content with myself. I'm seeking perfection every day. Hopefully I'll learn, to deal with that and just to be fine with the day as it goes. What else did I want to talk about here? I mentioned that a guy was relying on energy drinks, which leads me to the point, watch who do you trust online? Even me. Like, I'm going to try to give you 100% transparency, and I'm going to try to give you, like today, I failed at X, Y, and Z. And I'm going to, because, man, I think there's too much fabricated content online. So when you look at someone with 2 million followers giving you advice about something, but they don't speak about failures, they just speak about, I'm going to teach you how to be rich. I'm going to teach you how to, you look at them with skepticism, like, tell me about your failures. Tell me about your, like, bad days. Tell me about your bad sides. Like, tell me more. And I'm going to try to do that, to give you equally of good and bad stuff happening in my life, so you can trust me for what I'm saying. But also, I'm one of the creators online. Take everything with a grain of salt, because you never know the full story. Just like I was convincing myself for 2 days, there are people with 2 shifts grinding, having a couple of hours of sleep, but I didn't know they're relying on energy drinks. So just, you never know 100% of the full story. I heard this quote that I wanted to mention in the beginning that was getting me through some of my workouts back in the day when I had a full-time job, and I was doing this program called Insanity. It's a workout program, and it's like very hard, high-intensity interval cardio for home. And I was doing it before my job, and then I started a job, and I would come home at like 6:30, sometimes 7 p.m. And it's different when you're out of a job and you can just work out in the middle of the day. It's different when I was coming home at 8, 9 because I was going in person, listening to a course about making Android apps. So that was my first job. This is like 10 years ago. So I would work until 5:36, then I would go visit the course, spend there 2 hours, I think, come back home, it's 9 p.m. And there's been one personality, I forgot what is this YouTuber called, and he had a quote. He has like a intro in one of his videos saying, successful people do what they have to do whether they feel like it or not. And man, that has gotten me through so many trainings. It couldn't gotten me today to push myself to exhaustion and to record the course, because I know better now that, when you're so freaking exhausted, that's the time when you don't apply this quote. But a lot of times when you just feel lazy, you just don't feel like doing something, this quote is freaking amazing. Successful people do what they have to do, whether they feel like it or not. It's one of my favorite quotes. It's one of the only quotes that I can, like wake me up in the middle of the sleep and be like, tell me a quote, and I'll tell you this one, because I've heard it so many times, just coming back from this stupid Android course, drained, leaving my bag on the floor. And I'm like, it's time to do insanity, my guy. It's time to do this 45 minutes of workout. And my roommates would come in and be like, man, you look too skinny, you look unhealthy. And I'm like, fuck it, they're jealous haters. I was 70 kilos. I look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club, just not as swole. I looked sad. I looked thin. I looked horrible. But anyway, if you want to get in shape at home, like I definitely recommend Insanity. It's an insane this program. It's freaking amazing. So I guess that's it, man. I guess we've covered. I had three more things that I have here. I have this list that I'm typing into. Like as the day goes, I just throw things on this list. Then I'm trying to turn it into a script, but not really a script. Like I basically freestyle most of this. But I wanted just to address some topics, like some things that happen that you might get a lesson from, or something might be interesting. So I want to get to a couple more things, and then we can end this. One is, like I mentioned, the house yesterday. I mentioned burglars, whatever. Nothing happened with that. But one thing you're not thinking when you want to buy a house, you think about all the space you're gonna have, and all the freedom and all the rooms. What you're not thinking about is all the space, all the freedom, and all the freaking rooms. You need to maintain this fucker. And it wasn't that bad. Like I've hired a person to do the lawn, and we have a cleaner coming every once in a while. But we do stuff in parallel. Like while the cleaner is here doing stuff, we're also doing chores, and we're also doing, because there's too many floors and rooms and things to do, that you would need to hire someone for 3 days to work here. But we do stuff in parallel. So I've tried to outsource a bunch of things, and my parents have been helping sometimes, and my in-laws have been helping sometimes, but a lot of times you're just left on your own. What I didn't expect is when the snow came, you look at your yard and you're like, oh, this is beautiful, look at the snow. And you're like, look at the snow. Oh, I cannot take out my car. Like eventually the snow piles up, and you realize, oh fuck, I have to shovel snow now in the middle of everything happening. You need to take that freaking thing and shovel snow. You need to make a path. And guess what? You make that path in the morning. By night, there's still a lot of snow. You got to make a path again. One of the gates is frozen. You're taking the dog away from that gate or whatever. Now it's frozen. You got to figure out solutions. I tried to take out the car. The sliding gate mechanism stopped working because it's too cold. So now I got to press the thingy and just push with all my strength to move the door. And they don't tell you any of these things. You don't even think of them. I've been, I'm the guy with the Notion and coded tables, and I've written all the pros and cons. I've never even thought of the things that might happen. Like I go upstairs to fill this bottle of water. I just look outside and I'm like, did the trash cans fall down? Oh, fucking wind. Something happened. The trash cans fall down. All of the trash is across the yard. And if you leave it like that, it will just get piled, like it will just get scattered around everywhere. So you got to drop everything you're doing at the moment to go clean up trash. So I got to clean up my code, which is trash. And now I got to go clean up the yard, which is trash. And there's so many unexpected things happening, like the burglar, security alarm, whatever, that, I'm just saying this. If you're thinking about owning a house, it's an amazing thing. The freedom, I can yell here. There's no neighbors. I can crank up the music. I have so many rooms to do whatever. But also think of the downsides, depending on which period you are in life. Like combining a newborn, like a baby with a house, with a dog, with trying to get this startup course, everything rolling. Like, I'm getting through it, but it's not an easy experience. That's what I'm trying to say. So there's so many random things that are happening. I rented an office last year, right? I was working outside of home because at some point I was working from home. I had a separate office in the apartment, like a separate room. But just hearing, things happening in the home and just getting distracted, and at some moment, like I just shut down my computer and I ripped away all of the cables and ripped away. Like I packed basically just took away all the cables from the computer, just packed everything. And I'm like, I'm not going to plug in anything until I find an external office. Like I need to work somewhere else. And I started working somewhere else and actually loved it. You have a commute. It was like 15 minutes with an electric bike. You get that fresh air. It hits you on the way there, on the way back. Like you clear your head from work. So when you come back home, you're not in that work mindset. And best of all, there's no noises. There's no distractions. There's no couriers. There's no deliveries. There's no random people ringing the doorbell. None of that. So I thought, we're going to move in this house. Why pay rent for an office, right? I can just live I can just have a separate floor where I work and no one's going to bother me. There are 3 doors. There are 2 doors. I guess I'm 2 doors down, a new band. There are 2 doors between me and the upper floor, and I can still hear my dog barking. When there's something happening outside, I can still hear Benji's barks. So I can imagine if I can hear Benji now, when my daughter starts running, when she starts yelling, I can hear Benji and her. When she's in the yard chasing with Benji, like I can see the yard up here. So it's going to be crazy for me unless I barricade this window and I put some sort of sound isolation. So, over-engineering brain immediately is like, I should hire contractors, I should make this soundproof, blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling you this because sometimes the simple solution is like so close to our face and we're doing complex things over here. And today, after so many days of Benji barking and ruining a recording or ruining my mood because I'm trying to be focused, I'm not listening to music, and then I hear bark. I just realized he's barking because he hears someone outside. Why don't I take him here in the office? So I got him a bed. I put him in the office. He was super calm. He was sleeping here and he was silent. And it hit me because it's like, how many obvious things do we have sitting in front of us? Especially like I have shit ton of problems. What are some obvious fixes for those problems? Instead of going, I'm gonna build a house next to my house and that's where I'm gonna work. I always go to the most complex solution, which is stupid. So try to figure out what are these simple solutions to the problems you have right now in your life. So I guess that's it. Man. It's been a pretty long video. I don't have once I made one video that's 1 hour long, I'm like, it has to be 1 hour long now. I guess that's it. I'm pretty exhausted. It's like 9 p.m. I'm gonna go check Twitter for a while before I go to bed because my blockers are not installed anywhere right now. I'm in that YOLO phase, which together we're hopefully going to fix. So I see more people joining Benji, more people doing the Pomodoros. I feel like we're working together. I really like this morning when I was doing Pomodoros. I see a bunch of faces there and it feels like we're working together. So that's nice. If you find any bugs, please feel free to report them. And I guess that's it. If you're listening to this in video form, go to the description, find the podcast form. If you're listening to this in podcast form, go to the description, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Kitze. Follow me on Twitter so we can argue about random topics. And I guess, like the singer of the Chandelier song, I will see ya, get it, in the next one. Bye-bye.